Hello friends and hello strangers, welcome to another piece of Black Desert content. Today I'm going to be discussing a little bit about the Desert Frooooooogans, and if you were expecting to see some Kamasilve part 2 videos, then too bad, because that's what I got prepared for today, for the reasons you will see in a different video. So at this point the Frooooooogans hype kind of died since the Kamasilve part 2 was released, but still before that Frooooooogans got buffed in terms of experience and mob density, and what I was wondering is if the money income nowadays is at least decent to be worth grinding here over something like pirates, because we all know that nowadays Frooooooogans have amazing solo experience, but in the same time most of us expect this area to have decent or subpar money income values. So that's why I decided to test this area again, even though I covered it about 1 year ago for the first time. So in this video I'm going to be comparing the newer data to the older one and see exactly where this place stands nowadays. First off, usually at this point in the video I explain what are the test details, but since I'm getting bored of repeating over and over the same sentences, this time I will ask you to look on the screen and read whatever you want to know about the boring details. I will however mention that this time, compared to all of my previous videos, I have 3 tier 3 pets. So I bought another pet along with my Halloween costume, and I named this one Vulpy just to make a reference in case that person is watching this video. So with all this in mind, let's now get into the data part of this video. In case you weren't able to decipher my thumbnail, then for this area I grinded about 12 hours. As usual, I started from high del and I included all of the downtime, and at the end of the test I returned back to high del. Also, I should mention that I grinded those 12 hours in about 2 or 3 days. Considering the fact that I also grinded overnight on the second day, it could be considered as 2 days or 3 days, however you want to put it. If you are not interested in hearing the details of what happened during these 3 days and you want to save some time of your life, then you can skip to this timestamp. And if not, I'm going to explain a few things, and the others you can see pretty much on the screenshots. So the more important things are the 2 setup necklaces, which I got the first one after about 3 hours of grinding and the second one after about 7.5 hours of grinding. Then there's the 2 precision gems, which I got the first one after only 2 minutes of grinding or so, and then the second one which I got after about 10 hours. And lastly there's the breaks, which I should include because I only made 3 trips to bazaar. Basically the first one was after about 4.5 hours of grinding, just because my inventory was full and I had to repair. Then the second one with the same case after about 8.5 hours of grinding. So from here you can pretty much see that I was able to grind about 4 hours constantly without having to go to a city. And then the last break was after maybe 11 or 12 hours, basically when I had to stop. There's also the other breaks that I made when I was going AFK or just something like that, but I made sure to count those times out of the entire grinding period, and also I was restarting from the same place where I was logging off the previous session. So in total the only breaks that I really had were when I was going back to repair and drop my items in the bazaar city. About my grinding method or my grinding speed, I pretty much mentioned this on the test details, but I was grinding the cave rotation whenever that one was empty, and if it was taken I was switching to the gatekeeper rotation. And also I was able to one-shot pretty much every single monster, so I'm not sure if other classes can get the same performance, but for my wizard it doesn't really matter if I get more attack power or more accuracy, because for this area I pretty much am maxed out. I felt like I should mention this because about 1 year ago, when I tested this place for the first time, I was playing on my ranger, and also we didn't even have awakenings, so as a result I was not able to one-shot the monsters, and also if I remember correctly I didn't even have enough accuracy to do that. So there is a big clearing speed difference between the first video and this one. Now, with all of that out of the way, I can finally get into some conclusions or just to show the money income values. But before I do that, there are two important things you should keep in mind. The first one is that I'm playing on the Europe server, so I'm only going to be using the Europe marketplace values, and if you are playing on a different area, I would highly encourage you to take the loot table and use your own marketplace values on that, because that way it's going to be a little bit more accurate. And the second thing is that I performed this test about 2 weeks ago when there was still a Blackstone drop rate event. Now I have a fairly good idea about how many Blackstones you can get here without the event, so I'm going to be displaying both values, but you should keep in mind that the original test was performed with a Blackstone drop rate event. Now, with that being said, and since I mentioned I performed this test about 2 weeks ago, I'm going to be using two different marketplace values. One of them is the one that I recorded 2 weeks ago when I actually finished this test, and the second one is the one that I recorded pretty much today, 1 day before releasing this video, and it includes some updated marketplace values. The total runtime of this test was about 701 minutes, out of which 633 was the actual grind time and about 68 minutes was the added downtime. Using these three values, I'm going to spare you the basic math included in this, and on the left side of the screen you can find the values using the Blackstone drop rate event, and on the right side of the screen are the values without the Blackstone drop rate event. Basically, for the ones without it, I simulated the case where you would get 2 Blackstones per hour, 1 weapon and 1 armor. And also the green values are the ones including the marketplace tax if you want to sell the items to the marketplace and get a profit of 84.5%, and the orange values are just the raw item values, just in case you want to keep them or use them for something else. I probably don't have to mention that the top row is the one that includes downtime and the second one is the one without downtime. But anyway, these are the values that I got using the marketplace values from 2 weeks ago. And the second batch is the one that uses the marketplace values from basically today or yesterday, depending on when I get to upload this video. So in my opinion, the final profit is somewhere around 13 millions per hour, since I myself am actually selling everything to the marketplace. Again, for those who don't know, I'm saying 13 millions because the main purpose of these newer videos is to actually include all of the downtime. So in my case, if I get 2 setup necklaces in about 10 to 12 hours, I would say that the average money income should be around 13 millions per hour from the Frooooooogans area. Of course, this is going to change a lot depending on how many gems you get or what is the current scroll price, which at the moment is very high, but in my opinion it is a very good value, especially since nowadays most areas seem to pretty much end up in this range of 10 to 15 millions. If I were to take a look at the 1-year-old video, the one that I made on my Ranger, the profit difference is pretty huge because back then I got about 6 millions per hour as profit. Obviously I was grinding slower, and also back then we had no setup drops as a chance. Nowadays if you want to grind here, obviously you're going to be relying on these setup necklaces, but if you can get one setup necklace in about 4 or 5 hours, then this area has actually pretty good money income value or profit, or however you want to say it. So what is the final conclusion? Well, for me personally, since I'm comparing Frooooooogans to pirates, I would have to say that I personally would grind Frooooooogans rather than go to pirates, because Frooooooogans already have better experience than pirates, and I'm not sure how populated pirates are these days, but I'm pretty much sure you can find a spot at Frooooooogans easier than you would find it at pirates. And also with 13 million or so profit per hour, it's probably the same profit as you would make at pirates if you don't have mastered 2 trading to make full profit from those coins. So in my personal case, I would rather grind Frooooooogans simply because it looks better, it has better experience, and it most likely has about the same money income if you get lucky with those setup drops. With that all being said, the video is about done. If you made it this far into this short, long or medium video, then I appreciate it. I always did and I always will. And since my next money income video might actually be the last one for a while, I'm going to try to make a game out of this one. Usually for my videos I don't ask for likes, but in this case I want to make a game out of the like system and say that if this video gets to 300 likes, I'm going to make the next money income video of 15 hours. And to make it even more interesting, for each 100 extra likes that it gets, I'm going to add another 5 hours to the grinding. Obviously this should go on the opposite direction as well, so for each one dislike that this video gets, I'm going to cut out 10 minutes of grinding. So in the end it's going to be up to you guys to decide how many hours of suffering or actually grinding I'm going to be doing for the next money income video. This is going to go on for exactly 1 week, so after 1 week at the time of releasing this video, I'm going to look at it and see where it stands and decide exactly how long the next money income video is going to be. And with that all being said, thanks for watching. I'm going to let you guys to go back to play Black Desert, and I will see you guys in the next video.